unstoppable kick-ass confidence. Are you ready?
Welcome to the Raw and Unscripted show with Christopher Rausch, where we help you overcome your self-created crap without the self-help fluffy bullshit. Now please welcome our host, Christopher Rausch.
Da-na-na, da-na-na, da-na-na-na-na-na. Good evening, boys and girls. It is Christopher Rausch, your No Excuses coach, back here with another episode of the Raw and Unscripted podcast, brought to you by people who give a shit. Hello, I'm here to help you overcome your self-created crap without the self-help fluffy bullshit. What's going on, Misfits for Life of the Kickass Nation? Yes, it is another Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Every single week, it's on your calendar for the Raw and Unscripted show, where I have amazing conversations either with myself or with guests designed specifically for you to change your perspective about your past, your present, and your future. We already have Mary Sterling in the house. She says, good evening, Christopher. Good evening, Mary. Welcome. Tuesday evening. I hope the Tuesday has treated you well and you have treated Tuesday well. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, yes, I'm excited. I'm excited because today is August 10th, 2021. And do you guys know what that is? Do you guys know what that is? That means, here, let me see if I can even show you. I'll show you right here. I'll show you what day it is. I will show you what day it is. Hang on one second. I got to do this. So yeah, was that? Did I do all that yesterday? All right, hang on one sec. This is live, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just going to do this live right here because it's the Raw and Unscripted show, so I could do anything I damn well please. I damn well please. La, 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 la. Hang on one sec. How are you guys doing? Let me know how you guys are doing. I'm excited for tonight's conversation. That's for damn sure. You want to talk about a conversation that's going to go all over the place? Yeah, no, not tonight. Not tonight. Do you think we're going to go all over the place on the Raw and Unscripted show? Never. By the way, I'm just trying to get this thing going. And okay, so what day is it? It is day 71. Day 71. Day 71 of what? You guys have been here every freaking week. You guys know it's day 71 of 75 hard. Saturday is day 75. Guess what I'm going to do on Sunday? Yes, I'm going to have some bad food and drink. Because you know why? Because I deserve it. Because I've gone 75 days, 2 workouts a day, 45 minutes each, 10 pages in a personal development book every single day, if not more, definitely more some days. Sometimes I don't remember it, though. I'd be truthful with you. Picture every single day. So wait for this. I'm going to be sending out, I'm going to create a video of all the pictures every single day of my transformation of my body and how much weight I've lost and everything else and some muscle tone that I gained. A gallon of water every single day and a healthy diet. So yes, it's been truly such an amazing process. It's the second time I've gone through it. And this time I did it during summer, which was even better because this actually last weekend I traveled to Detroit. And normally, if you guys know me, I like to drink when I fly because I don't like flying and I don't like being in a bunch of crowded people in airports. So when I drink, it makes it a little bit more entertaining. But this time I didn't drink. I took 2 planes there and I took 2 planes back. Not a single drop, not bad food, not one. And it was boring and it was painful, but I did it because yes, I can. Because anything that you decide that you want to do, you can. You just go and do it. You put one foot in front of the other and you say, I'm going to get through this and I'm going to get through this with the best possible attitude I can possibly can. Lo and behold, you arrive at Successville. Boop, boop. Next stop, Successville. What's going on, beautiful people? We got Robert's in the house. I thank you so much, Robert, for being here every week. Both shows, you're amazing. He says, hi, Christopher and Mary. We got Mary coming back. Mary, okay, so we got Robert serves up and Mary comes back and says, good evening, Robert Brooker. We got Nicole, Tiffany Cruz in the house. What's up, Nicole? Super busy mommy coach. It was just recently on our show a couple of weeks ago. A mutual friend of myself and my guest. So thank you so much for being here, Tiffany. And thank you guys for being here, whether it's live or on the replay. I know you guys, some of you watching on the replay, or you're listening to it now on the podcast, which is available through Spotify and any other place that you get your podcast from. Just go in there and type either Christopher Rausch or the Raw and Unscripted show. If you type in Christopher Rausch, you'll get both this show and the unfiltered. Well, actually, no, you won't get the unfiltered experience yet. Pause that thought. You'll still get the Raw and Unscripted show. So if you want it on podcast, definitely go check it out at your favorite media, your media outlet. And let's see, why isn't that working? I have a little monitor right down here that keeps me accountable. So anyways, so let's just get right into it. My guest tonight is a gentleman that I've had the pleasure of getting to know in various formats. We have met on Clubhouse. I've been on his show. He actually has a great show and asks great questions. We just did an interview on that. And now he's part of my men's group that I do on Clubhouse every week. So we've had a lot of different dynamic conversations. We've had a lot of amazing, candid conversations and vulnerable conversations. He is a man of many different talents and many different areas of expertise. So we're going to go a little bit all over the place. But tonight, I am pleased to have here on the Raw and Unscripted show none other than the Scotsman himself, Jock Brocas. What's up, Jock?
How's it going? How's it going, Chris? Good to be here. Thank you very much for having us.
It's going, man. It's going awesome. We haven't had any technology glitches yet.
Just before we start, this is the Raw and Unscripted show, correct?
Yes. Keep your clothes on, please. Keep your clothes on.
I got to get in with the. I feel a bit better now.
There you go. I don't have any sleeves, so I'll put my sleeves up like this. There we go. All right, so it's the Chris and Jock show.
It's nighttime. It's the right time, and it's wine time. So carry on.
Well, I'm still doing 75 hard, brother. So I will have. This is my Mio drink with my water. So cheers.
Yeah.
And truth be told, you are on the East Coast. You are in Florida. And I'm here in California, the better coast.
I am, yes.
Yeah. What do you got going on over there in Florida? You doing some exciting stuff?
Just a little bit of business preparation stuff that I'm doing up here, only for a couple of days, flying just in prep for stuff, and I'll be back in North Carolina on Thursday night. And it is hot as hell here. It is humid, and I used to live here many years ago. And I now realize why I freaking hated the place.
Whereabouts in Florida are you?
Right in Orlando.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no thanks. Yeah, no, Florida is way too humid and way too many other things too.
It's creepy crawlies everywhere. It's crazy. You can't breathe in the place. It's nuts. Really is.
Yeah.
Take me back to North Carolina. That's like Scotland.
Mm-hmm. It is. It's really like Scotland. It's haunted and beautiful with lots of greenery.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. There's a few haunted places, and this place I'm in tonight, it's it reminds me of an old 1970 Shining movie. You go out into the corridor and you look down and you think, okay, there's I'm just waiting on that little kid and the little tricycle going down.
What kind of place are you staying in? You're not staying at the Ritz Marriott then?
No. Just I know my wife is one where if we go anywhere, she wants to get the nice modern hotels and all the modern amenities, and that's cool. But I get a chance when I want to go on business, and I'm like, let's get an old haunted type one and see if there's anything doing. Do
you bring your gear?
No, I just do
some EVPs.
Listen, the reality is, right? All that gear does not prove ghosts, right? Just let's get that right down to brass tacks.
Come on, it doesn't. You mean if I hold a transistor radio up in the static, I don't hear ghost voices?
No, it's bollocks. No. It measures it. Listen, you got to be scientific about it. It measures anomalies. It measures a frequency change. It measures a fluctuation. It measures even a camera can only measure a distortion in an image. It does not prove by any psychology means or parapsychology does not prove a ghost.
So what proves a ghost besides Ghostbusters? Because my son is absolutely in love with Ghostbusters right now. He got a Ghostbusters yellow uniform. He tells Alexa to play the Ghostbusters song. So how do you determine if there's ghosts there or not? Do you ask?
There would have to be intelligent. There would have to be evidence. There's got to be more evidence than just a temperature change or a fluctuation on a camera. There has to be intelligent communication in some form. That intelligent communication has to add up to a lot more information, and also the history. If you take a medium or a psychic or someone in there, they've got to be able to validate that history. You just got to remember that every measurement tool we have, the EVPs, the freaking lights that go off and everything, it just measures a change in something. It does not prove the paranormal, which is normal, not paranormal.
I love it. Now you just went in a direction totally completely different than I was going to go into, but let's stick with that for a second.
Oh, you started it. You mentioned the haunted freaking.
I know, but I didn't think you were going to jump on it. Well, what's going on here? We got people saying what's up. Nicole saying what's up. She says She goes, oh yeah. She goes, I don't even know Jock was on today on the episode.
Yes, Nicole, I am here live, raw and unscripted, and drinking wine, which you probably won't be happy about. But
Why
yeah,
wouldn't she be happy about that?
Oh, she'd be wanting to. She'd be looking for the fitness side of things and the nutrition side of things. She knows that I have a little penchant for that side of a nice wine or something. I've known Nicole for quite a while.
You have, yeah. She's a beautiful soul. I know. I can't wait to meet her as well.
Yeah.
So why don't you give? So we talked about Paranormal Activity. So when I look at those shows on cable, my wife, I told you and off the camera that my wife actually loves that kind of stuff. Those shows that we watch and Ghost Hunters and all that other stuff, is that real? Is there any reality to it, or is that just something to get us kind of our appetites wet for what Paranormal Activity really could be?
I'm gonna be careful what I say, because obviously I don't want to piss a lot of people off, but it's entertainment, right? And what it does is it shows that there's a change in something. I mean, at the end of the day, if you look at any of those shows, there's nothing really scientifically validatory that tells that that's what's happening there. It's interesting, and there's got two sides to it. One, there's a dangerous aspect to it, because it kind of gets everybody's juices flowing. It gets them into the whole let's go ghost hunting, but you've got to remember that there's a dangerous side to that life, right? It's not all a bed of roses, and you could really be screwing with something you can't deal with. And it's happened to paranormal groups, and it's happened to quite famous people, actually.
Oh wow!
Ryan Buell, who was one of the lead ghost hunters for PRS. He did the Demon of Brownsville Road when that actually first broke news and was all over Fox News and stuff. He had some serious issues. He had some serious problems after that. Wow. So you have to be prepared. You won't go out your home and leave your door wide open for anything to come in. So you really shouldn't screw with the other side if you don't know what you're doing. And there's an element of sensationalism. Right, there's an element where it's entertaining, and I get that. It isn't entertaining,
sure.
But they can also give people a false sense of security, and then people will dive in. They'll say, "Oh, let's play with a Ouija board, or let's get an EVP, or let's get this out." And 99% of the time, maybe nothing will happen, but there's always that 1% of the time where something might happen, and you could be opening up a Pandora's box. So there's two aspects to it. Yes, it's entertaining, but there's also a dangerous aspect to it, and you don't want to try and give people the wrong impression of what the afterlife is, or what is outside of the realms of scientific inquiry, because that's important as well. And then when people, talking the little apps on their phones, you ask any real professional parapsychologist, they'll tell you the same thing. These are only measuring fluctuations in environmental stimulus or environmental energy. It's not proof positive of anything remotely paranormal.
So I think it's important for us, given the context of what the title of the show is. What is your background with all of this, Jock? How did you get involved in this, and why are you considered a subject matter expert and as well as an author?
I could I could turn around and say there's the old cliche where you speak to anybody who's had a psychic ability or a spiritual life, if you like, that they were like it since they were a child, and it's the old thing. Everybody says the same things, and to a certain extent, that's right. But I didn't know what it was. I couldn't label anything when I was younger. My uncle was a monk in a monastery. I spent a long time in a monastery. I was brought up in the Catholic religion. I wanted to be a priest, and I went to go to seminary. I got kicked out of there because I was a bit wild. And then the next thing was, well, okay, so I can't be a priest, let's be a soldier. So I went and joined the army instead. So I kind of went from one direction to another.
You did.
So I'm not going to give the whole cliche that, yeah, I was like that as a child, and I experienced all these phenomena. Yes, I experienced things, but I didn't know what the freaking heck it was. I didn't know. I had to learn that later in life.
Sure.
I always had a spiritual outlook, Chris, as you know. So that spirituality has been with me since I was a child. So even though I was in, if you like, a dogmatic type religion, it never made sense to me. So it put me on a bigger path. Well, if that doesn't make sense to me, well, what about this religion? Well, that didn't make sense to me, but I saw parallels. And then ever since I was young, I studied spirituality and religions and theology and all sorts of things, but I never stuck to one particular dogmatic belief system because I kept feeling things differently. And so when I was young and I was in the monastery, and maybe we'd have you'd have a men's group, so we'd have like a boys group, and these would be all the boys that wanted to become priests and things like that, and a lot of them would be like, oh my God, I went out to the grotto today and I saw Jesus, and I went out and I saw Mary, or I saw this saint, and this happened in my room, and that would pique my interest even more. So I'd be like, well, what the freaking heck is nothing happening like that? Why am I not getting anything like that? This is bollocks, this is. So I would go out and I would go down to where they were saying they were having all these experiences, and I would kneel down and I'd get ready, and nothing. Not a thing. So then it put me on another path. Well, are they talking bollocks? What's going on? So, they can't all be having these mysterious experiences. And then that just led me down the rabbit hole, and it just continued from there forevermore.
Wow. And you've written some books. Talk to us about those.
I wrote a kind of parapsychology book. I wrote after, remember, we had, 9/11, which was a disastrous time. And after 9/11, I wrote The Powers of the Sixth Sense, which was to educate people on how they could use their sixth sense to keep them safe, keep them safe in a hostile world, understand intuition at a deeper level. And so
what is intuition? What is intuition for you? What is it? Well, let's stop right there. What is intuition? What's a baseline definition of intuition for you?
Well, let's make it easy for any lay person to understand it, because we could go into the whole energy of it, chakras and all that stuff. Let's just make it dead easy.
Okay.
Your compass, you're holding a compass and you're out hiking, or you're out going over the mountains, and you need to go which direction. You can't see where to go. The fog is down. You've got your backpack on. You don't know where you're going and you're losing your direction, but you take your compass out and it points you to magnetic north. It points you in the right direction of where you can go. And then so you've talked about this, your signposts. So you get your signposts. So that's what intuition is. Intuition is your inner guidance compass that is inbuilt. It is part of you. It is what keeps you safe. It is what communicates to you in a spiritual way, in a spiritual level. Because the reality is that we are not, we are spirits having a human experience. We're not humans having a spirit experience, right? So we have to identify that. And we have to realize that we are greater than the sum total of everything that we are within the material world. In science, the science will dictate that we only use a tiniest percentage of our brain. Then the big question is, well, is the brain the mind? Is the mind the brain? Is it two separate functions? Where does all that come in? Where does the soul come in? But the one thing that's the constant is that we have an inner compass that when it's rough, when it's raining, when it's foggy, when you're tired, when you can't see beyond that way, it will point you in the right direction. But you've got to learn to use the compass, because if you don't know how to use the compass, you're screwed.
No, thank you for that, dude. I when you were talking about that, what I was thinking about for me is what Glenn Morshower talks about, the inner whisper, right? Being able to be connected with, for my perspective on what you're saying, Jock, and thank you for sharing that, is the books I've been reading with Michael Singer, The Untethered Soul, The Surrender Experiment. And in the Untethered Soul, he talks about like all the thoughts and everything else that are going on right here. And he says, you're the observer, you're not these things. So you can just literally step back and be away. You can be aware of what's going on, but not be of what's going on, I guess is what is the way I understand it. And being able to, and being able to separate that. But also when I think about it, I think about it in terms of this versus this. So my intuition is what my gut, what my soul, what my soul's experience is here telling me to do. This thing is based on all the analytical bullshit that's been programmed into my brain, and that conversation, that argument that goes on, that's that incongruency that most of us live with. Would you agree?
Absolutely. And there's a big difference between living in your head and living in your heart. And this is where we have this whole the whole analogy of using your gut instinct. You're having your gut, which is where the seat. If you look at ancient Sanskrit, if you look at the old, Aramaic thing back in India and their belief systems, they believe in Japan, they believe that the power comes from the hara, which is the center of the mass of your tummy. And the same is where they'll say in Eastern philosophy or Eastern belief systems, it's chakras. And so they talk about the root chakra and the sacral chakra, things like that. So I like to make things simplified so people can understand it without any formal kind of doctrine or any belief system to try and give them an analogy of the compass or something. And then in the same way that you're saying, it's rather like an observer effect. And it's also like you break down an illusion. So we live in a life of illusion. If we understand we're living in a life of illusion, we see that everything is temporary. We see it in a picture, a screen. It's a dream, but we can control that dream. And we need to be at a distance from it, watching it on the screen. And so you can make the decision based, instead of being a participant in it, you're actually an observer. So being an observer, you're able to segregate from what you see on the screen to what is here.
I love that. That's amazing. Yeah.
People don't understand that. Anybody that tries to teach you how to use your psychic ability, and here's the other thing. It's not for the special people, right? We all have it. Everybody has it. I once taught a course in Pennsylvania many years ago, and I had a judge that was on it. He's a very skeptical guy. And I said, by the end of today, I'm going to show you that you have a psychic ability. You have an ability that's in you, an ESP, an extrasensory perception. Whether you believe it or not, doesn't stop it from operating at some level, right? He then totally refuted it, denied it. By the end of the day, he came up to me and he says, I would never have believed in a million years that I could have achieved what I've just achieved in the space of a day, because I broke down the bullshit and shed the illusion and showed him what was real inside of him, that it wasn't special. It's there. Just break that illusion, watch it on the screen and control it.
So what would be the first couple of steps in that process, Jock? So somebody's watching this right now, they're intrigued, they want to get more. What are those first steps to be able to have that clarity?
The first thing is to understand who you are, and that's a big
That's
question.
A whole other show.
It's a whole other. It is really, isn't it? Really, it's a whole other dynamic.
Who am I?
And we've been arguing about it for years and eons and stuff like that. But I would say a very simple thing is to equate yourself more with the natural world. Because if you equate yourself more with the natural world, you'll see intuition in action every day.
Give us an example. Equate, just for those people who don't understand Scottish.
Okay.
I just want to make sure they do under. I didn't know if you were saying quit. I was like, he said equate. Okay.
It's one of my author words. You know what I mean? That's nothing to do with Scottish. But so
you're not Scottish. So for me, some of that stuff doesn't ring.
So let's give it. Well, okay. Let's give your you love your cats. I mean, I know you you love your cats, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can learn intuition from your friggin' cats. Okay.
Oh, really? Okay.
So you equate yourself with the natural world. That's the natural world. They are not bound by the material illusion that we're bound by. They're closer to nature than we are, right? When you watch nature, when you watch the birds, if you watch a wildlife show and all of a sudden that caribou is having a little drink and it senses that there's a freaking crocodile underneath the water, that's natural intuition. It's picking up the vibration. So let's take it to the real world in nature where a cop can use it, right? A cop, say a cop in LA, he's been called out or she's been called out to a job and she gets this, I don't like this. I'm not going to go through that door. there's something not right about this. There's a warning system. There's an alarm going off. It's the same thing as what your cat picks up when it senses danger, or when a hawk is above and another animal senses the danger. And anybody who's interested in how that equates in the natural world is to go and read a book by a great scientist called Rupert Sheldrake, and it's The Sense of Being Stared At. And Rupert talks about
the sense of being stared at.
Yeah, the sense of being stared at. So
okay.
Let me see if I can give you an idea of what that would be. So for any of you guys that are out there, and I'm sure somebody's actually done this, you're working
Light
away.
a fart on fire.
Huh?
No, I'm kidding.
So you're traveling somewhere, whatever else, and let's say a really good-looking woman catches your eye, and you're young, you've got all that thing, and then you're staring at them. They're not looking at you, and then all of a sudden, they know that you're looking, and even though they're looking the wrong direction totally, they turn around and they'll look at you, and then straight away the guy's like, oh, I've been caught and I'm hiding away. Well, that's like the sense of being stared at. That's picking up the subtle vibrations, the changes. She was picking up that vibe. She felt like somebody was watching. That's when you go into some of these ghost stories or ghost hunts. I feel like someone's watching me. It's the same thing. But if you want to understand it from the scientific point of view, Rupert will explain it, how your dog senses. Those that are dog lovers, your dog knows when you're coming home.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It's intuition. That's the same thing that we have. But they're so close to the natural world that it's just natural. It's part of normal nature for them. But for us, we've become so materialized and so disjointed that we think it's something that's super normal, that's out with who we are. It's something we don't have, and we don't recognize it because we don't know who we are, and we don't accept that. And that's the first stage of developing anything to do with your intuition or your spirituality, to understand who you are, where your place is, and that what you see is an illusion. Now, I don't mean anybody to walk about. I was teaching a class once, and the guy's his mother came to me and says, "What are you teaching him in this class?" And he come back and he said, he came to the dinner table and he said, "Ma'am, see that table there? It's no there because it's an illusion." And she was like, "You're not going back to that class." This was a martial art class where I brought in intuition. So you're not going back to that class. That guy's a complete crazy horse. And that's
no, he's not a crazy horse. Robert's a crazy horse. He says, "I often converse with my cat." Absolutely, I converse with everything. What's up, beautiful people?
Robert, is if your cat answers you back.
Yeah, well, sometimes he does. Sometimes he does. We got Teresa's in the house. Teresa says, "Hello, what's up, beautiful people? Thank you guys for spending your time here with us." Of course, I was looking at Robert's name. Of course, ask Jock questions. Any questions you might have. What? Are you a Fritz brother?
What's a Fritz brother?
Oh. I don't know if he's talking about me. You don't know what a Fritz brother is? Okay. Yeah. I'll have to explain that to you some other time because I want to make sure that I keep this conversation going. So you said getting to know yourself or knowing yourself. So I know that you do coaching, and I know that we've talked a lot about personal development. Of course, you contribute heavily into our men's group on Wednesday nights on Clubhouse. Because that's one of the biggest questions when you think about, me and a friend of mine were having that conversation earlier, like, who am I? And he said he went through 10 months of hell trying to figure out who he was because he got wrapped up into an identity that was associated with his career, like something similar to something that I did. What can people do to be able to find out who they are? Because I've talked to some people recently and they're just like, I don't know who I am anymore. What are your thoughts on that, Jock?
I think the thing you got to ask them is, why are they asking the question? They don't know who they are, right? They're obviously searching for something, which means that if they're searching, they're looking in the wrong place. They're searching external to themselves, right?
Right. And
so the reason they don't know who they are is because they think who they are is external to them, right? For me, it's their well, who am I? Am I the guy that drives the Mercedes, or am I the guy that's teaching, or am I the guy that's the coach, or am I the guy that's? They're always looking outside themselves, the inside themselves, which kind of brings you to the whole like it kind of exemplifies the old story about the story about the musk deer. You frozen?
Somebody's having some energy.
You frozen?
You
I'm
there?
here.
Yeah.
I'm here. Yes. What happened? All right. So, it's rather like a story like the musk deer. The musk deer, at some point, it releases. There's a smell that it picks up, and it goes all over the forest, and it's always looking for the source of that smell, that where it's coming from, and it goes absolutely crazy just trying to find the root of where that source is, where that smell is. It's just going nuts until it realizes that the musk deer is smelling itself, because the gland that it's releasing the pheromone inside of it is inside of it. The problem that we have with most people, and especially with a lot of guys, is we don't look to who we are in internal aspects of who we are. We're always looking for an external validation of who we are. So the biggest thing that you can do is understand that you're more powerful than the sum total of anything that's material out there, and that inside of you is a seed of greatness, and that everything spouts from inside of you. And a way to maybe exemplify it is everything that we experience, Chris, is experienced inside. Okay, we see a beautiful vision. Don't experience it outside. The experience is not outside. The experience is inside. It's in the mind. It's the clairvoyance. We see the picture. We create the picture. We have the energy, the light. Everything goes into the eyes. It refracts. It goes to. It's inside that we feel it. You fall. You're running. You're on 75 hard. You're out jogging. You fall. You don't experience the pain on the outside. It's in the inside. You don't experience the change that you're going through when you're training on the outside. You experience it on the inside. The inside changes the external environment. The inside changes and breaks down the fat tissues, builds the muscles from the inside. External is the end thing. So when you understand that everything is inside, then you have the power to change what's outside.
Ooh. When you understand it's from the inside, you have the power to change what's outside.
And the other thing I'll say to people is, as another example, and this is a good example also for your intuition. You can't really understand the power of your intuition until you can look at a tree and see beyond the tree. You see, when you're outside, or you're walking down the road or the lane or whatever, and you see a tree, you'll look at the tree and you'll think, that's a beautiful tree. Well, look at it. And that's it. That's an amazing tree. And then you carry on your day.
Right.
What if we took a little bit of time and went, that's not just any tree. And you go into the tree and you look at the pattern of the tree, and you look at how it's growing, and you look at the way it's developed, and you look at its leaves, and you look at its stem, and its trunk. You look at how big it is, and then you go into its roots, and you think about how did it get there? How long has it been there? And you go deeper and deeper and layer into the tree and its life and its structure and where it's from, how it got there, instead of just looking at it from the material aspect and saying, wow, that's a beautiful tree. Look at it. And then walking on. Then you're getting in tune with nature. Then you're becoming an understanding part of nature. And that's going to start to harness your inner power.
Ooh, harnessing your inner power. Yeah, taking responsibility for ourselves versus, trying to assert blame on everybody and everything else, right? Yeah. So where do we lose this? Where do we lose this, Jock? Because I think about, and I was talking with somebody earlier about this. Like for me, my focus right now, part of my focus right now is returning to the 5-year-old Chris, right? Because when I think back to when we were kids, we had unlimited creativity, unlimited energy, curiosity, sense of adventure, We weren't worried about what people were thinking. We were just doing our own thing. What are your thoughts about that? How do we get screwed up from that childhood experience to the adult experience? And do you agree with me in the fact that we should be more childlike in order to achieve that inner wisdom that you were just talking about?
100%. I'll go two ways with it. I'll go back to anybody who's Christian oriented, go back to the Bible where Jesus in the New Testament turned around and said, "Suffer little children to come unto me, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." It means being childlike. It means not being tainted by laws, regulation, or tainted by anything that's out there. And I think the biggest thing that we have caused ourselves is when we recognize the power of fear in our life. That is what's changed everything. Because if you look at anything that is boiled down to any change or the way that people live, they are controlled by fear and they're controlled by the perceptions of others. You see, we are told what this, people will say to me, look, do you believe in an afterlife, or do you believe in this? And I always say, I don't believe at all. I know. Because if I believe, you're getting interrupted, are you?
Jackson, I'm on the phone. I'm doing an interview right now. Like a real one.
Bring him on.
Come here, buddy. Come here.
Bring him in.
Oh, I think you just had some chocolate or something.
I had chocolate putting a whipped cream on it. I ate for dessert after my pizza.
You had pizza and whipped cream with chocolate. Wow, you had a really healthy, nutritious dinner.
Did your dad cheat? Did your dad have any of that? Did he sneak any?
Yeah. It was called homemade pizza.
It was homemade pizza?
Did you make it?
Me and Mommy made it all by ourselves. Hello.
Say hi. Welcome to the Raw&Unscripted show.
Hi. Welcome to the Raw&Unscripted show.
Well, now it has to be scripted because it can't be raw. So
we're just going to pause for this little Jackson cuteness break, but we actually are creating the Jackson and Daddy show. So I'm actually going to hook up another microphone, and I'm actually going to start doing a podcast with him. Yeah, because he's always curious to come in here and do this. So for those of you guys who are not watching this right now, my son just came into my studio and wanted to say hi, so we put him on camera and on the microphone. But Daddy's got to finish his conversation.
There's an example, Chris, exactly what you're saying. He had no fear. He had no trepidation. There was nothing there. He wanted to come up and he wanted to express himself, and he did. Mm-hmm. That's the secret.
That's what I was saying. Right on cue. Thank you, buddy. See, I was like, send in the kid.
Yeah. Who arranged that? Did you arrange that?
Yeah, it's not scripted. All right, buddy. I'm going to let you go. I'm going to go finish this conversation, and then I'll be downstairs, okay? He's just super excited because for those of you guys watching this, I was traveling this weekend and I went to a wedding where we weren't wearing masks. So I came back and I quarantined just to make sure to keep him safe. So I wasn't able to see him. So now he's excited to see me because I was being that guy. So anyways, going back to what we were saying. Yeah, I mean, so you agree. I mean, going back to the childlike state is magnificent, but again, going back to that fear of judgment, like, what are you doing? You know, how do we get away from that? I think that's the magic sauce. If we can get away from that and being able to really reframe somebody's perspective of us that is negative is really a representation of what they feel inside, right?
Well, I think the easiest way to explain that is when you stop judging, then you won't feel judged.
Say that again.
When you stop judging, you will not feel judged.
Ooh, how did you learn that lesson yourself?
Because as you know, my show is Awareness in Action. To change anything in your life, you have to have an awareness, and then in that awareness, you then have to take action. So when you're being judged and you feel bad, and I've been and as in my work, you get judged all the time. You get judged by skeptics. You get judged by people, and who knows? The guy who said there was a Fritz, he could have been judging. At the end of the day, you will not change the feeling of judgment unless you don't judge. Because when I feel it, when I know that I'm judging someone, it's the law of karma. We live in the dual life. Karma's like waves. Whatever goes in and goes into the water, it creates the wave. So in physics, it has to be an equal and opposite effect. So if we look at karma as equal and opposite effects, if they're judging, you're judging. You're also judging them judging you. Because when you feel the judgment, you become aware of it, and you're judging that in itself. The secret is to become still, like a calm water with no waves. That's the secret.
Ooh.
But
How do you do that?
You'll find that you only know judgment because you have judged in the past. And the only reason that you know judgment is because you have judged. Because we only know pain because we know health. We only know hate because we understand love. And we only know evil because we have good. There is equal and opposite effects. So if you're feeling judged, it's because you have also judged.
That's where we take out this this beautiful piece of equipment. I told people, I said, this can answer everything in your life. This can answer all the problems that you have going on. And this lady was looking at me. She's like, a hot life? Because it says hot life right there. And I said, no. I said, what's inside of here will give you the answers to all your situations. She's like, what is it? What is it? What is it? And I said, it's a mirror. It's a mirror, right? That's what we need to do. Is that what you're saying, Jock? We need to hold a mirror up to ourselves and say, hey,
absolutely.
Talk to us about that.
Now, here's the other thing, though. A mirror can be used in two ways. A mirror can reflect, or a mirror can show you what it is you don't see. Okay? So when we look in a mirror, it reflects back to us, and we can see an exact replication of what we see. But you also remember that if we go back to ancient Egypt and we go back to way back in those times, the mirror was something that was used for great insight and wisdom and to look beyond the world of the material world. They used what was called a psychomantium. The psychomantium was a suspended mirror-like object that they would use to look into the netherworld, to look beyond. So whilst everybody will say that we have a mirror and that mirror will show us our weaknesses or it reflects back to us, but if you understand, the mirror can also show you what you don't see. It's having awareness and knowing how to use the mirror that makes sense, that makes the most difference. When we look at a mirror and it reflects to us, we're just looking at what's perceived in the material world. But we are spirits having a human experience, not the other way around. So we can also use the mirror in dualistic ways, like the law of karma, up and down. We can look at the mirror and we can see beyond it. We can use it as a tool to see beyond what is in the material, to show us what is hidden.
How do you, before I go down that rabbit hole, because there was a couple things you said, how do you stay still? Now, we were just talking about that. We were like, Thomas says here, he says, you know, Bruce Lee, be still like water.
Yeah,
there is something about that. I am admittedly diagnosed as ADHD on crack. So literally, if I sit silent, I get like just this barrage of thoughts and everything. And so silence and stillness for me has been something that I have been on a passion quest to figure out. I've done the breathing, I've done binaural beats, I'm much better at it. What is your advice for somebody who has a brain like mine, who hasn't done as much work as I have done, who's sitting there saying, oh, be still, you're fucking crazy, Jock? What are some recommendations for getting still?
Okay, so for you, I would say to you, why, you know, when you're trying to sit and be still and your mind is all, you know, I can give you all the techniques under the sun, but your mind is all busy and everything else. How does it make you feel?
Overwhelmed.
What if you changed that mindset and you changed that whole thought structure around it and you just let it be and you let the busyness be part of the stillness? Because eventually the busyness will subside when you let it be. When you don't let it be, you get yourself upset and you try to do the 5-minute rule. I'm going to breathe 5 times. I'm going to breathe in. I'm going to breathe in, because you're judging yourself. You're going back to judgment. You're judging that my mind is not still. Oh my God, this is killing me. I can't do this. This is, I don't have any stillness. What about just letting it happen and letting nature take its course? And you start slowly building that up and slowly breathing through that in your own way. Like your busyness, instead of getting annoyed about it, just go, okay, it's busy, so just let it go, and I'll just try and I'll continue, and I'll breathe. You don't need to try any tools. You don't need to try any techniques. Try not judging yourself for doing it. Let it happen. Meditate in the shower. Meditate in the bath. Don't meditate when you're driving. That's crazy.
So do you prefer guided meditations, or do you use the meditation app? And also when and this is, I think, an important question as well. When I think about meditation, I think about stillness, and I think about, getting centered and grounded and all other stuff. But I've had friends tell me they meditate to think, that they actually explore those thoughts and all that energy
Absolutely.
that's coming up in their brain.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing: is that you're trying to meditate on a perception. Remember what I said. Perception is a perception of others. We live our lives by the perception of what other people tell us it should be, right? We don't allow ourselves within to feel what it is within. And so we're governed by what other people says it should be. Now, you don't have to sit in a kaftan or sit in quietness and stillness. You can meditate just by holding your child, to be in that moment. And that, even if it's only a second, it's a second more than you did before. And then it's 2 seconds more than you did before. And you can meditate when you're walking, and you can meditate when you're eating, and you can meditate if you pick up a flower, and instead of just holding that flower and just being with it in the moment and recognizing its beauty and the pattern, that's you learning to meditate. When we do guided visualizations, what we are doing is we are training the brain. We are training the mind in a specific way to reach a state, whether it's the alpha state or the beta. You're in beta most of the time, but have you got alpha state or in a delta is going right down and going to be comatose. But you're training the mind and able to feel what that state's like. And I have guided meditations that I give to people. And I give people guided meditations that they can do. And what it does is it helps them to train their mind in how the process works to raise their vibration to be able to reach that space. But the real key to meditation is being able to feel the inner power between the in-breath and the out-breath, to be able to touch the void of divinity, to be able to understand and release that inner power that you have, your psychic ability, your intuition, your gut instinct. But it doesn't have to be in any kind of structured way, because that's the way someone tells you to do it. You meditate by learning what's in the present moment. When you're drinking a coffee, maybe not when you're having a wine, but when you're, but when you're eating, there's this whole aspect to mindfulness, right? Mindfulness being in the moment. Well, that's you learning meditation just by taking a small amount each day to be in that moment and that time with your child, when you're writing, when you're journaling, you're freaking meditating. You're learning to meditate when you journal.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many ways that we learn to meditate. We don't have to put it down to a particular structured tool, because that gives us, we feel that we have an ability to it. We feel that we have to be pushed into a certain pattern,
right,
to learn it, when that can actually do us more damage than just learning to become one with what exists, learning to become one with nature, learning to take the time in between your breath to understand it, and not judging yourself for having a busy mind. I had that problem when I, developing as a medium over the many, many years that I developed, I still do.
Right.
I had the same problem. The key for me was to just recognize and become aware that my mind is busy, and that's okay, and that's allowed to be busy, because one day that won't be busy.
Ah, ooh. Ooh, that's a great delineation.
So don't judge yourself for doing it. Just let it. One day it won't be busy. Allow it to do its thing.
I need to do more of that. I'm doing that. I'm doing that. So I just want to capture some of these comments right here while you get a drink. Jennifer's with us. She says, absolutely truth. Thank you, Jennifer, for being with us, spending your time with us. She said here, also let the business be part of the stillness. Yes. Absolutely. It's something that I've been striving for many times. We got Sandy Archer in the house. What's up, Sandy? Thank you for spending your time with us. Says meditate in the shower is good. I found out, this is crazy. We got Scott saying, what's up? Hi guys, driving. Well, don't meditate while you're driving. Jock just said that. Don't do that. But thank you for being with us, Scott. And talk about the correlation we were saying with kids. Is there an aspect of our childhood when we were kids that we meditated that perhaps now we could see that it actually was meditation? So if meditation was good, did we do it as kids, but we just didn't know it?
Didn't you say a prayer when you were younger?
No.
So you never.
I prayed my mom wouldn't kick my ass. I prayed there was food.
Well, you prayed. So you prayed. You prayed there was food.
No, I'm more teasing. No, I didn't. We didn't do traditional. I didn't get on my hands and knees and pray.
Any time that you said that you took a bit of time and you turned around and you went, "Oh God, please don't let it rain," or "Oh God, please let me find that $20 on the floor that I can go and get food." You're just starting your path in meditation.
Oh.
You've probably done it more than you even can imagine. You just didn't have an awareness of it because, again, we are governed by the perception of what others think or what others believe it should be. Right? When your family or your mother or someone's out there and they said, don't be noisy, just go away and draw in your book, go and draw some nice pictures. And the child sits down and they start to draw and they're intent in drawing. They're learning to meditate because they're present in that moment. Be like a child. And then the
be
rest
like
will
a
flow.
child.
Yeah.
Flick your boogers at strangers. Oh my God, you made me cough.
It was elastic bands we used to do elastic bands we used to fire. But that's what it is. It is think like a child. You were learning to meditate ever since you were young, from the day that you came out the womb.
So let's think of a way we can tie this all together, because I want to respect your time. I know it's East Coast time over there. Definitely want to have you back here on the show. I just love having conversations with you. I want to capture this real quick. Jennifer says, I needed that so much, or I needed that. Thank you so much for asking the question, Christopher. You are most welcome. And again, you guys can ask any questions you want. Just go ahead and type them in the comments. We'll be glad to answer those questions, whether you're watching us live or the replay. We'll go back and catch them afterwards. So thinking about everything we've talked about, I have a philosophy that I've recently come back to that has reminded me about, I call it the 1% more or the 1% less rule. So like if we want to get success out of this conversation, I would say apply the 1% more rule. 1% more opportunity for us to meditate, 1% more for us to get childlike, 1% more for us, because I believe that turns into compound interest. And I saw it on your blog written about the domino effect. So talk to us about that in relation to what I was just saying and how we can kind of wrap up everything we've talked about in the show to send people off with a game plan for what they can start implementing in their life.
So the domino effect for me, when I wrote that article, and if anybody wants it, we can link it to it. When I wrote that article, it was to try and exemplify how the first decision that you make, or the first awareness that you have from when you open your eyes, can be the awareness that sets you off for the whole day. So in that example, you have the guy who wakes up and he's horrible and he feels bad and he shouts at the wife, and then she feels bad, and then he's shouting at the people in the car, and it's compound. So it's 1% more, but it's the domino, because you're 1% more to that person, and the domino goes on and it goes and it goes and it goes. The greatest gift that we were ever given, the greatest gift that God ever gave us, was the gift of being able to choose. Right? We're not going into free will. That's another show. Free will is because we only have restricted free will. We don't have free will, is what people think. And so we have the gift to choose. Now, if we have that awareness in the morning and we choose to awake in prayer, or to awake and how we feel, or to have that good thought and to carry that on, that domino effect. Before you know it, you've just impacted more people than you can imagine just by creating that 1% domino that pushes it in the positive. And then it goes bump, 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 bump. And it's very much like the analogy of the butterfly. They say when a butterfly flaps its wings, you can feel it on the other side of the earth. Well, that's your thought. That is your choice. You can either be impactful in your thought to serve humanity, or you can be impactful in your thought to detract from humanity. One of the things that I try to live by, and what I say, and I say to my students, is I do not serve to live. I live to serve. And if I live to serve, it means my domino effect is always 1% positive and falling in the right direction. And it just compounds and affects everybody else. And that one decision and choice has helped me to impact every domino in that line.
Jock Brocas, everybody. Did I pronounce your last name right?
Yeah, you did actually. That's unusual. You got it right, huh?
Yeah. Well, I know you a little bit. I know you a little bit.
Yeah,
so,
you do, yeah.
Looking at this, we've already gone 56 minutes, man. Thank you so much for spending your time with us. I definitely want to have you back on the Raw Unscripted show because we could talk about, as we talked about before, we talk about all sorts of stuff. We could have a show on free will. Where can people get a hold of you to continue the conversation? Where can they find your books at?
They can find my books on Amazon, or they can get into stores. On my website, jockbrocas.com. One of the things that I'll say, I've got, if you're interested in the paranormal, you're interested, I think go to my YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/jockbrocasmedium. There's over 100 odd videos on there where I teach and I just give as much knowledge as I can. And you can connect with me on Instagram at Spiritual Medium, and you can ask questions. I always answer Instagram questions personally. I do have a team that do my other social and stuff like that. But if you really have something you want to know, you want to ask a question, then jump on, connect with me, ask a question. You might not get an answer straight away, but I will 100% respond, and I will 100% give you a personal response, and it won't come from anywhere else. So you can connect with me there.
Ooh, I just had a great idea. All right, I just had a great idea. I'll talk to you after the show, but it's a personal thing.
Right.
No,
well,
definitely.
Okay.
Definitely, guys, connect with them. I mean, you're such a value of information. I mean, your heart and your intention of when you speak, the articulation, the passion, the sincerity is, brother, I love you. I'm so thankful we ran into each other in Clubhouse and just having so many great conversations. So
just a shout out, we've got Nicole to thank for this. So big shout out to Nicole for bringing us together.
Yes.
So awesome.
Yes, Nicole. Yes, Nicole. Jennifer says here as well. She goes, yes. The only difference between a tragic day and a triumphant day are the choices we make in each moment. And of course, I would be remiss because I always have to, usually not always, but again, ladies and gentlemen, if you have a fucking problem with choices, you have a problem picking your mindset, pick up this book, Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning. For those of you guys listening, again, Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning. Have you read this book, Jock?
No.
What?
I will now, though. No, I have not read it.
Oh, yeah. Well, what you're talking about, this is firsthand account, Auschwitz concentration camp survivor. And the crux of this book changed my life.
Oh, really?
Because when I was sitting there, Jock, you're making me angry. Oh, those people are pissing me off. Oh, my mom did this to me. In this book, this guy is in a Nazi concentration camp. He says, you can beat me, you can starve me, you can't tell me how to feel. You cannot tell me what to think. And his thing was all about I am choosing to feel that I will be reunited with my wife. I am choosing to feel, choosing to think this. Any external, like going back to the original part of the conversation, any external situation cannot impact us if we choose not to let it, going back to your choices. So yes, Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning.
You know, the only thing that you own, you truly own in life You might have a bike, you have your guitars, but you don't really own them because when you go, they're gone.
Oh yeah.
The only thing that you own that can never be taken away is your mind.
My soul.
And your mind is everything. Yeah, it's your soul. It's your mind. Your mind. Yeah, that's the only thing that can't be taken away from you.
Yeah.
And you have control of that.
I have control of that. Of course I do. Margaret's in the house. What's up, Margaret? She says, yes, great book. Absolutely. Look at Ray's in the house. Long time no see. What's up, Ray? Made it late, but I'm here. You can catch us on the replay. Absolutely. This has been a great show. Angela actually says this. Angela says, great show, Christopher Rausch and Jack. Have a great evening, everybody. Thank you so much for being here and sharing that with us, Angel. You are an angel. Yes. And please, if you guys got value out of this, go ahead and share the episode. Make sure and tag some people in it and say, hey, listen, if you're struggling and if you had some epiphanies, like you said, Jennifer, you did, there's other people out there that could really use this conversation. That's why I do this show every single week. It's not for money or anything else, not for advertising. It's about making an impact on you guys so that you go out there and pay it forward and have that ripple effect, have that domino effect. Thank you so much, Jock. I'm going to stick you backstage here for a second, back into the green room. I'm going to say some nice things and close out the show, and then you and I can have a quick conversation. So stand by. Thank you.
Stand by.
Thank you. Thank you. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Again, connect with Jock. Put that information back up there here real quick while I sit there and think about what my final thoughts are. So go to www.jockbrocas.com or Instagram at the spiritual medium. At spiritual medium. For those of you guys listening, I don't want to screw you all up. And of course, if you're listening to this, you can actually always go to my YouTube page and see these shows on replay. You can go to my website, you can go to the media tab, and it shows video casts, and you can go see all the shows. Of course. So we talked about a lot of stuff tonight. We talked about something that's super important to me, and that's choices. Every single moment, we have the ability to choose and set the intention for where it is that we're going. But oftentimes we sit there and we take that opportunity to really consider where we've been and who we were and what was. And the magic of life is here in the moment. The moment. That's where the gift is. That's why they call the present, because it is a present. It's a gift. You know, right now I'm healthy. Right now my son's downstairs having a great time. Right now I've got electricity. Right now my refrigerator works. Right. So I'm in the moment. Because I don't know what the next moment's going to bring, but I do know this: whatever the moment is going to bring next, I can choose how my response or my reaction to that moment is going to be. And that comes with that stillness that Jock talked about before, being able to get centered and stop the minutia of everything that's going on out in the world, because it's so easy to get overwhelmed. It's so easy to take on all those voices and all that input. We have so much coming at us right now. I mean, if you're sitting there walking around with one of these things, I mean, it amazes me how many people are just like this all the time, on the phone. Did you notice there was a breeze outside? Did you notice it was a beautiful sunny day? Did you take that into consideration? Did you take that into gratitude? We have a choice every single day. And to Jock's point, before my eyes open, I say what I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for I wake up another day. I'm grateful for my bed. I'm grateful for my son sleeping in the other room. Whatever it is I might be grateful for. And then before my eyes open again, still, I set the intention for the day. My intention today is to be present and playful with my son. My intention today is to go out there and make a difference and impact in the world. My intention today is to connect with the right people that are going to move me closer to impacting the world on a bigger level. My intention today is to be a better husband and a better person. My intention today is to have a good time at any moment that I possibly can. My intention today is to be grateful for the abundance that I have in my life. And the list goes on. So before my feet hit the floor, before my eyes wake up, I have set in motion what I intend on creating for the day. So guess what? My subconscious is going to go about that. And going back to choices, now I can sit there and get in my car and have that all set up. And then all of a sudden I could have somebody cut in front of me. And then that immediate reaction, I can sit there and react and go, what the fuck? Or I can go, I respond. Hey, please go ahead in front of me. You must have something else more important to do than I. Carry on. I'm going to carry on doing what I do. So again, if we take that to be personal and we wash that inside of us and we choose to let that infiltrate our soul, then guess what we're going to do? Oh, see, there's the rest of the day. God damn, I knew this day was going to go to shit, blah, blah. And you just rewire your brain to find out where the negativity is going to come from. But the blessing is in the moments, because we've all had situations where we've gotten that phone call. Hey, so-and-so is no longer here. They just died. We've gotten those phone calls. Hey, you need to get to the hospital. We've gotten those phone calls. Hey, I just got diagnosed with blank. And then in those moments, tell me not that your life doesn't change forever. So the moments are where the magic happens. You can choose in every single one of those moments how you're going to live, how you're going to be remembered, what legacy you're going to leave by the choices and the actions that you take. And one of the best choices you can do is today, like I was saying, without accountability mirror, go up to the mirror and say, who am I today? But more importantly, who am I going to be tomorrow? Who am I going to choose to be tomorrow? What am I going to do today that's going to make me the person that I need to be tomorrow in order to achieve more tomorrow, to challenge myself more, to take on more, to leave a greater impact? Or do you wake up every day and say, my intention is mediocrity? My intention is to putting up with the same shit that I put up with for all the other fucking years I put up with it. My intention today is to be crabby and bitchy because I really don't like anybody. I'm not happy with my life. My intention, whatever it might be, that is your choice. That is your choice. That is my choice. I love each and every one of you guys. Thank you so much for being here on the Raw and Unscripted show. Mary, Robert, Nicole, Teresa, Thomas, Angel, Jennifer, all you guys, Sandy, Margaret, Ray. I love you guys. You guys are misfits for life of the Kickass Nation. Take this episode, share it out with the people that you know that need to hear it. But more importantly, please take action on at least one aspect of the conversation tonight. Let me know what it is. Hit me in the DMs. And if you're watching this right now, I'm just feeling compelled to share this. If you've never had one of my complimentary coaching sessions, please hit me up. I'm here. I know you guys are going through a lot of shit. I know that all of us are going through a lot of stuff right now with the COVID lockdowns and the Delta and what's going to happen, the mask and everything's coming back. I am going to sit here and be here with you and for you through every bullshit thing that we've got going on in this world until we get through this together to make this world a better place for who we are and what we do. And that's the intention of this show. That's the intention of my life. That's the legacy I choose every single day to create and to live. And I'm so blessed that I get to do it with people like you. So go out there, have a magnificent evening. The rest of the evening, stay kick-ass and classy. And I love you guys. We'll see you here next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on the Raw and Unscripted show. Love you guys. Peace.